and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I am going to be doing a whole video on organization containers, and hopefully this will kind of help you guys in whatever space you're working in to know exactly what type of container that you need. So if you guys like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it, and let's go ahead and get started. I'm Sabra, cleaner, organizer, and interior decorator. Ever since I was little, I had a passion for making things clean, pretty, and simple. I want to help you no longer feel embarrassed or ashamed, but rather love and know your home. I want to help by motivating you, encouraging you, and sharing tips and tricks to create the home of your dreams. Alright, you guys, so the first tip I want to give you guys, and I know that you already know this because I have told you guys many times, but make sure you are measuring your space. So I know this is pretty, like self-explanatory, like duh, but you would be amazed at how many people do not measure their space before they choose a container for it. You want to find a container that definitely fits in the space that you're working in, because trust me, it's much more satisfying for it to actually fit in that space rather than it to somewhat fit in that space. You just kind of make it work. There's a difference. And with professional organization, you want to make sure you are getting a container that actually fits that space perfectly. Otherwise, you're going to be losing space. And there's, a lot of organization that you want to be gaining the space. You don't want to be losing it. So make sure you are measuring the space. And I know I've said it many times, but trust me, it will make you feel so much better. It'll look so much better in the end. You won't be wasting any space. Just trust me on this one. Measure your space. All right, the next thing I want to mention about any container that you buy for your home, it always depends on the person or the family's preference. So for example, if I am doing a pantry and you have a lot of kids in the house, or you have a husband, or you have yourself, and you don't ever know what is in your pantry, the best thing to do is always to use clear bins. So there's a difference between obviously using the pretty baskets and that kind of thing to cover a lot of stuff. If you don't know what you have and you will forget about something, then obviously you're going to want clear bins. And so that is something, if again, your family just works better that way, and it's easier for them to be able to see everything, to know what they have, then definitely use the clear bins. But if you want to more so conceal the space, if it is out in the open and you know what's in there and you're hiding games, for example, and you're putting it in a console table, then maybe you want a wicker basket for that space, because you know that the games are there and you know where to go to look for them, but you want them to kind of be concealed. You don't want it to almost look cluttered with all of the games and colors and that kind of thing. So it completely depends on the person's and the family's preference. Now, one big thing I do want to mention about fridge and pantry organization, I know those are huge spaces to organize, and that is one of the top places to organize in a house. Those places, if you are not going to, every time you go grocery shopping, if you don't want to make the effort to dump your cereal into another container, then don't get those clear containers for the cereal. If they are containers that are just going to sit around, just be honest with yourself. If you're not going to do it, then don't get those. Get a different type of container, whether it be a bigger size container to stack all of your cereals in horizontally, so that way you can see exactly which type of cereals you have. Then do that. If that works better for you and you're not going to be dumping things into another container, then don't do that. Now, if you want it to look really pretty and for sure that you will be dumping it into a different container every time, and that is not an issue for you, if you have that time and you appreciate doing that, then go ahead and do that. So another example would be for laundry. So in your laundry room, if you're not going to sit there and dump out each of the things into the laundry containers, then don't get those. Get something that will conceal that, or even if you forget about it, do a clear container, a larger clear container that can hold everything in there. So it completely depends on you guys, and if you are willing to make the effort and you have the time to dump things into another container, then you can go ahead and do that. If not, then don't do that. Make sure it works for you and your family. Now, another huge thing to, think about whenever organizing is how organized do you really want to get it? Some people, they just want to, generally categorize some areas, and then some people like to do each specific thing in its own little container. So there are different types of people, and organizers, they are both ways. So for me, there are some areas that I like to more generalize, and then there are some areas I like to be specific. So for example, obviously my tea drawer, I did each individual type of tea in its own container. Now other people may have just one big container full of teas. So it completely depends on, you and again, your preferences, and that's a huge part of this. But I want to be able to help you and kind of give you the options and understand why you need a certain container over the other. Because obviously there are tons of containers, different sizes, different colors, different shapes, and they are all for a specific reason, and that's why there's an entire container store, because there are so many different kinds, and there is a reasoning for each one of them. And I want to be able to help you guys, see what those reasons are. So again, it kind of depends on how organized you want the space to be. Are you one of those you want more generalized category, or do you want it more specific? So that's another thing to keep in mind whenever you are trying to find the exact size of a container you want. Just figure out how specific you want each space to be. Now, lots of times we also have organizers in drawers. Now, some people don't, some people do. Normally for those, obviously it will have an open top, so that way you can see directly into it. And normally those are smaller containers, and normally I go for the clear ones. But there are clear, white, and those spaces you can do kind of anything, but normally it looks very pretty and a lot more cohesive if you do all the same color and you either do white or clear. Those normally look the best in those spaces. I personally prefer clear a lot better, like the acrylics, but in the drawers, obviously you will want to do smaller containers, and then again, it'll depend on how specific you want it to be, but then obviously clear or all the same exact color will be best for that space. Now, one thing I will mention about clear acrylic glass type of containers, obviously that is my favorite kind. I really love those. There's also obviously like wicker baskets and things like that, or different types of metals and woods. But obviously I personally prefer clear or, acrylic glass for a lot of my organization. And that's mostly because I can see how much I have of each thing. So if I'm about to go grocery shopping and I need to know how many pods I have left in the laundry room, then it's very easy to just glance in there and see if I need it or if I don't. Whereas if I were to keep my laundry detergent in that big plastic container, you have to go in there and shake it and kind of figure out how much you have left in there. Whereas right now I can just glance in there and I see that it is in my clear container and I can see how much I have. So it kind of helps me to, keep things up in stock. And the same thing like with the fridge. So if I have an empty space in the fridge of like fruit or that kind of thing, then I can see how much of each thing I have and what I need more of. So clear containers always help me with stock. That is like a huge thing, and just being able to kind of see what you have. So if that works better for you guys, then I highly recommend doing that. And then another tip I really want to give you guys is baskets. So obviously, like I said, there are baskets that you can use as well. And I normally typically use those for broader categories, or maybe things that you have like larger packaging for, or if you want to conceal those things. So for example, if you wanted to use a basket in a pantry, you could use that for multiple different things. But for example, if you want to mainly focus your, health lifestyle habits to more of the healthier food items rather than junk foods, but you still have the junk foods in your pantry, go ahead and get a concealed, wicker basket and go ahead and put all of those junk foods and those type of snacks in there. So that way they're still in there, but they are concealed enough to where they are not going to catch your eye like the healthy foods will. So that's a great way to use a wicker basket. Another way is if you have like a bunch of bread, for example, and you use bread all the time and it's gonna be in there and you have different types of bread, then you can do it in there. Again, if you want to hide like games in a main area of your home that will constantly be open, go ahead and use a wicker basket for that space. So, you know, again, it completely depends. I do have wooden baskets, for example, for my shoes and the shoe coat closet area. So, you know, right there I have kind of it more concealed, so that way you're not just going to see bunches of shoes in there, because that's not very pretty to me. But I obviously know that my shoes are in there. So if it is a space that you know what's going to be in there, but you don't necessarily want to see it or need to see it all the time, then you can go ahead and use the wicker baskets. It kind of helps conceal things. It makes it look cleaner, more organized. And again, if you have like larger packaging or broader categories, those are really great for those spaces because it holds so much more in a basket. So anyways, that is it for this video. If you guys liked it, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. I will be making a video soon on labels, because I had someone recommend, you know, making a label video, and I think that could also help you guys, because I can show you the different types of labels I make, why I make the different types of labels, the types of label makers, and I figured I could go ahead and explain all of that to you guys as well. So anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. Comment down below if you guys have any other kind of suggestions for containers, because I know there are a lot of different kinds, and if you walked into the container store for the first time, then I'm sure you're overwhelmed with the amount of different types of containers that all look the same. Then, you know, I want to try to help you guys not feel overwhelmed by that. So again, if you guys liked it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe if you have not already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.